Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to call the Public Works and Safety Committee meeting to order on April 19th at 5:30. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Alderman Hamel.
Here.
Alderman Terrence. Alderman Kubaki.
Here.
And Scott Kreger.
Here. And statement of public notice.
The agenda was posted and everyone was notified in accordance with the open meeting laws on April 14th.
Status of projects, Great Water Alliance.
So yeah, this is just going to be a quick one here. So Great Water Alliance, right now, the contractor is finishing up their pipe work along Durham Drive. Hopefully with the weather, it'll be done in the next couple weeks. City staff has already been meeting out there with Great Water Alliance, and we are defining our restoration limits. The plan is for Great Water Alliance to start doing the restoration work very soon along the path, and then the last segment to be done is along Ryan Road in the city of Muskego. So hopefully this summer, we're going to see a lot of restoration work done, and I think that will be welcomed by all residents in the city of Muskego. That's the update I have.
Any questions? No. Thanks. Unfinished business, discussion of Ryan Drive Trail.
All right, so Ryan Drive Trail, we've talked about it a couple times. The last information or request that was asked was some traffic counts. So I provided the traffic counts to the people on the committee. So the decision needs to be made is whether or not you would like to see this go as a project on capital. So what that means is this. I go out, I do the research, I present this to the Capitol, the entire Common Council will vote on it. The request is to put a trail along Ryan Drive. Aaron, if you could go back down, I just want to kind of highlight it again. It's the whole length from where North Cape Road goes all the way down to Groveway Lane. We don't know if it's on the north side or south side. This is just a concept. I would provide a cost estimate for you guys at Capitol, and then the whole Common Council would vote on it. So I just need a direction, and I kind of need it today because I got to start planning because Capitol's coming in about a couple months. So either you want this trail as something for me to present to you guys at Capitol or not.
Is there a cost for the concept?
Nope, not until I kind of start going through this. I will give you that cost for the like a cost for hiring a firm for 30% plans, and I will give you an estimated cost for looking at this. But I have nothing.
And that would be at Capitol?
That would be at Capitol, and then you guys would vote on it. It'd be rough, but I'll get you one. I can get people looking at past road trail projects throughout the state and mostly in the southeastern Wisconsin. I will present it to you, but it's up to you guys. I just need a direction, whether or not you want me to start doing the work.
What's your thought? It's just...
Well, I've been down that road a number of times. Looking at the traffic counts are low, so there's not a great deal of traffic. This traffic count was done prior to the speed limit being reduced to 25, which I think is a help. On average, for a day beginning at 6 a.m. to, say, 10 p.m., you're only averaging 12 to 14 cars on the road every hour, so the traffic counts are low. This is not a throughway. It simply is a feeder to the various subdivisions that are back there. There's no destination. There's no restaurant. There's no bar. The other issue that I think is a major issue are the ditches on either side of this road. The slopes on some of those ditches are pretty dramatic. I would venture to say, and I don't know where the right-of-way lies on these things, but there would have to be some acquiring of property out there if a path were to go in. quite frankly, I'm not in favor of putting a path in that way, in that road. It's, number one, going to be tremendously expensive. You're probably looking at a minimum of $1.2 million, $1.3 million to put that path in. And I think our roadways would be better served with that money.
Yeah, that was basically along the same line. I was thinking that the traffic counts aren't that high. The speed limit has come down. There's not, I know there's not much of a shoulder on there, but there's, both sides also have a ditch. So something's gonna have to be done to acquire right of way on that, I believe. In regards to the cost, I know costs of trails have gone up dramatically. I just don't know what it would be. I don't think it would hurt to let it go to capital and see what a cost comes up at that time, so we have a number. But if it's, you know, we have a problem with our roads in the city, a lot of roads, a lot of residents are, you know, calling us about our roads, and there's a lot of roads that are in severe need of fixing. I think it would be better spent going to the roads, but I don't have a problem also putting it forward to capital C so we can get an estimate.
Scott, what would be the cost of just getting an estimate?
It's mostly my time. I charge a little bit for some engineers to review. I mean, it's nominal, but I have to have some consultants kind of do something, but I have general engineering that it would go under. It's not free, but I mean, I keep it down to a minimum, but I would say your idea of $1 million is, you're going to be right around there. And the reason too is, besides possible right of way, is that's the only way is ditches. So if you have no ditches anymore and you have a path, you have to somehow control the stormwater, which means probably some type of storm sewer system. And think of a ditch enclosed, and that's going to get really costly. So I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm telling you, it's going to be a costly path, especially that length. I think, Aaron, did I have on there how long that is? It's like
1.2, I think.
1.2 miles. So.
How long is the path along, I'm drawing a blank, North Cape?
I do not know. I would have to look it up.
Do you remember the cost on that one?
Well, the developers absorb some of that expense.
The thing about this is it's tight right away, guys. It's tight right away. I have to find a place to put the stormwater drainage. I probably will have to do something with maybe acquiring a little bit of the right of way. I could see, depending on it, you might have to curb and gutter aside, because you can't have like a path right next to a road. There's some safety concerns that you think about. This is going to be an expensive path. So.
I guess from my standpoint, Alderman, is that I can't justify the time. I mean, if we're looking at $1 million for a path that we just don't have right now, that our roadways need it, why waste the city's time in even preparing an estimate for it? It's your call, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you make a good point, you know, because my thought is it's, you know, with the traffic count, the path does not, you know, it goes out to North Cape Road. I understand that, but it's not connecting to important areas, or it's not like on Bay Lane with the road being done and the school being there and kids taking Bay Lane to and from the school for class and for their football practice up there for the junior Warriors.
Yeah, because once you hit Groveway, that's it.
Right. So it's, and $1 million, you know, I could, you know, if that's what it's going to be or more, I don't think that's something I could support on that. I'd rather see that money go towards repairing roads in the city. So you're looking for What, just a yea or nay to move it on to
Yes.
capital or
Yes, that's what
to deny it?
I just need, move it on the capital or not move it on the capital. That's what I need.
Yeah, yeah, if you're pretty confident it's gonna be $1 million plus, I cannot see moving this on and, like Kevin said, spending your time taken away from other things that need to be done and doing it on here. So I would have to, move to deny it.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Okay, going on to new business. So what this question involved is a development called Madison Court area. Brian Wren, the developer, has requested to vacate the right-of-way described in the attached document. So there's a good one right there, Aaron. So the area in the red is the areas that he's asked to be vacated. Well, based on City of Muskego policy, says the Public Works and Safety Committee needs to determine if the city should receive compensation for the property to be vacated. So that's the question. Whether or not you guys think that he should pay us money for this or not. Okay. Now, in this particular case, and every case is different. In this particular case, if it doesn't get vacated, it's no big deal. It's there, but we have 2 bulbs there. So it's more of a cleanup thing. By us vacating it and giving it to that lot number 4, there's no added advantage. It's not like you're giving it to a developer. Let's say you had a right-of-way strip and you gave it to a developer, and that developer was able to create more lots. Then, from a city staff standpoint, we would say, yes, you should get compensated as a city for that because that allows that developer to sell more lots. All right? Do you kind of understand what I'm kind of talking about here? Just I want to make sure that we kind of have this because it doesn't come up often. Sure. So in this particular case, there's no advantage. It helps us out because we clean it. That bulb that you do see there in the black, that is plenty for us to do garbage, plenty to do snow plowing, everything there. This just kind of cleans up the area. So from our recommendation, we would like to vacate this and ask for no compensation. So that's kind of our standpoint as city. Any questions?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, but I do have a question. So right now, if somebody were to build on lot 4,
There is someone already on lot 4.
so the drive goes through the vacated property.
Yes, it's just, he would just get more frontage for his.
And it's all green space right now?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. All right, here's the last one. Okay, and we'll be adding a little bit more. So a request came through, and so first of all, let's talk about the request. So no parking request on School Drive. The actual request is they want no parking on both sides of the road. Okay, so I want to make it clear, they have reached out, and I'm sure, I believe Chris is kind of the spokesman for the area. She is going to talk about it, but they're making the request of no parking on both sides of the road. We don't do this commonly, but that's the request, just to kind of make sure. The other thing is why this is driving it. One, there's the local. The local has become a very popular place. Their workers tend to park on School Drive and walk over there just because it frees up more parking in the local for patrons to come in and eat there. The other thing too, that I didn't mention in the memo, but Chris wanted me to mention is the traffic from Mill Valley School. From my understanding, people tend to park on School Drive. There is a crosswalk there. Sometimes they probably walk their kids across into the school and maybe go pick up their kids and walk back and then grab them on School Drive, just to let you know. So that's the 2 main issues of it. And now when we look at it, we always talk about no parking signs. You know, the big one is, you know, you should kind of make sure you listen to everyone on the road because it's going to affect everyone. If we do make a suggestion, our suggestion is more if you want to do no parking, we suggest doing one side, not both sides of the road. And we also suggest you do it all the way from Hillendale down the Gold. Just kind of doing that first portion, it doesn't make sense. We'd think that you would have people just keep moving down on School Drive there. And again, remember, this affects everyone on the road. If you have no parking, that means parties or any events, you cannot park on one side of the road, and that's like graduation, Christmas parties. So this is kind of a popular, I guess, subject. In the last 2 or 3 years, we've had at least 3 or 4 of these come in front of the Public Works and Safety Committee. Now, I'm going to ask Chris if she's here to come up and, or your husband, I'm sorry, just come on and be the spokesman. Okay, but it's always good to start with the spokesman, so. Is it? Yep.
Yeah, so bear with me, I might be a little long-winded, but you did hit on some of the main points, and what, I wanted to reiterate, that was the original request. And we did send the original email out stating that we were requesting no parking on both sides of the road, but somewhere along the line, it got just worded as on one side of the road. But what we've been basically advocating for, along with the neighborhood, was to basically have no parking from Hillendale down School, both sides of the road to Preston. Because what we found is that it is basically kind of a lazy factor. People just don't want to walk too far. So they found that is a closer spot to park. And once I started digging into this and started researching and started talking to my neighbors, I found that not only is it just School Drive, and it's not only just School Drive all the way down the Gold Drive, and even people on Gold Drive as well, because I talked to a few of those, it's all the way down to College on Hillendale. So a lot of those people are upset as well. And what happened when, initially when we first started airing our differences about the whole issue, I believe the mayor and or alderman talked to the owners of the bar, and they came up with the idea of parking them down on College. And that worked for us initially, but I always thought in the back of my mind, that's not fair to the people down there either, that live around that corner. And eventually it trickled back. They just started filtering back. But there's still some diehards that still park down there. But the biggest concern that a lot of the people that had down there was you can't see once you get to the stop, which we have it by our corner as well. But once you get to the stop sign at College in Hillendale, you can't see around that corner because of the blind spots there. So people are having a little bit of difficulty seeing cars coming from the west going eastbound on College. So there's a concern there. So we felt that's just, again, shifting it, a problem here, shoving it down there. You got another problem down there. And I feel, as well as other people do, just having no parking on one side, you're just shifting a problem from one side and just shoving it over to the other side. Now instead of having it congregated right there, now you're taking those cars and shoving them down on one side of the street. So, and it's not fair. And then whose side? Because it's either gonna not make people happy on one side if they're parking on their side, or it's not gonna, or vice versa. And right now, with the way it is and with the ground being so soft, everybody, our grass, the neighbor's grass, everybody's grass is getting torn up over this, including Hillendale. And that being another separate issue, even with the school, people coming there waiting to pick up their kids. So they're parking along Hillendale all the way down to College, around the corner, and now traffic is trying to get around those cars on College into oncoming traffic crossing a double yellow line, for which it also happens on Hillendale. Everybody's parked on Hillendale waiting, and they go into oncoming traffic, school buses and what have you. So there's a hazard there as well. I mean, it's just unsafe. And with the kids coming and going, parents coming and going too, I believe someday somebody's gonna get hit and clipped out there. And we have already had some near misses over by our corner on a daily basis. My wife and herself just going to get the mail, cars whipping around that corner of School Drive in Hillendale. And it's not the fault of the drivers really, because they can't see either. You're coming around that corner, there's cars parked there, they don't see people walking and coming and going. You can't always put the blame on the driver as well, because I get it, they can't see. But having that all said, going down and Of course, a lot of people say, yeah, they're going to come to the meetings, and we got a pretty good turnout here. But of all the people I talked to everybody down school, everybody down Hillendale, talked to people on Preston Drive, talked to people on Gold Drive. I have 40 signatures here. I can, hand them over to you. 40 signatures. A lot of people, again, like to say they were going to make it. Sometimes they can't. They have prior commitments. They would love to come. They just can't make it. Aside from all that, I mean, they're parked there now, kind of pertaining to the local, the bar establishment. They show up as early as 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I get it. They're preparing for the restaurant and everything else. But now we have cars parked out there clear till bar closing time. And you're talking 10 to 15, maybe 17 hours a day at most. And what happens a lot for us, right there in that vicinity right there, they're parking right behind our driveway. So it takes 2 to 3 tries to get to back out of our driveway because they're parked right behind our driveway on the opposite side of the street. So we're always having difficulty there. So now we're forced to back into our driveway just so it makes it easier for us to get out. So it feels that we felt with just in the local issue that it's basically we're the extension of their parking lot. And I don't think that's really fair for our neighbors, for the community. And I'm pro-business. I want them to do well. I think it's great that they did that place. I think that the way they remodeled it, I used to frequent it quite a bit. I've had everything on the menu in that place. So, but it come to a point where this is getting a little ridiculous. I think it's a little overbearing on everybody else for us to bear the brunt of their success. And I don't know really what the remedy is as far as their issue. I understand it's a small parking lot, and we all understand it, and it's one of the first things that comes up. The parking lot's too small, and we all get it. But I think that I don't know what their remedy is going to be, but I think in the short term, and let me just back up. We were told by the alderman that just give it a while. Give it a while, things will simmer down, things will get better. And it really never has. But I also asked too, if we did just get no parking, that let's give it a shot. Let's just see how it goes. I mean, it doesn't have to be permanent, it doesn't have to be forever. But one of the things that, like I said, it's not only did I find out that we were upset down School Drive, but people on Hillendale Drive were upset, and I said, do you want me to ask for no parking for you guys too? And they're like, absolutely. And as of Easter Sunday, we've been noticing all the tire ruts from everybody parking there, but then there was a guy that slid right into the ditch on the corner, and I'm sure you're well aware. And so, he probably had to get pulled out of there. So it's just, and I get it, I get it. I understand what people are trying to do. I don't know what the remedy is for Mill Valley School. A lot of people talked about the amount of money we spent on the school, the parking lot. But it seems that in the recent months, probably even a little longer, that pickup has gotten really out of hand. And it was coming from Tans Drive. And I think some people might have complained, and it got shifted down to where they're coming from College now, coming from College up to the school. And everybody's getting their driveways blocked because of that. And I believe there were some complaints on the Hillendale side coming from Tans, people were blocking driveways, so then they shifted it to coming from College. Now those people are kind of getting upset because of blocked driveways and what have you. I don't know what the answer is there either. I don't know if we should make another bigger parking lot to get all the cars off the street. I don't know. But I think just in the short term here, that we're asking for a little bit of relief because, I mean, we don't want our values of our homes to go down. If we want to try to sell our homes, how do we sell our homes? If there's cars parked all over the place, that it's not a good look either. There's loitering going on in the cars. They come before work, they're sitting in their cars running. We're picking up trash. They come for their breaks, sit in their cars with their cars running. And again, we're all experiencing trash, all the ruts. But yeah, it's a little, I think, a little taxing on all of us, and we're kind of getting, I think we're getting worn thin here. So I don't want to take up much, and just also, like, just a couple other points I wanted to kind of make that, that were said, that you guys don't normally do no parking on both sides of the road. And I'm going to have to disagree with that a little bit, because I spent a lot of time on this and did a lot of research. I got a lot of miles driving around Muskego, looking at a lot of different scenarios. I can show photos to you guys. I don't know if you'd like to want them right now. I can show them a little bit later. But in particular, so I thought I'd look into that. And I looked at the area over by the high school. Now, I was told, I know this was said, that, there's a lot of no parking around the lake, and that there's a lot of no parking signs around there, and that's a lake issue. So I got about 10 plus examples that weren't lake issues. And the way I kind of feel is like, an issue is an issue. It's a parking issue, no matter what's causing an issue, whether it is the lake or a school or an establishment. So I went over by the subdivision just north of Muskego High School, and it's Jean Drive. And Jean Drive has no parking throughout the whole neighborhood. It's limited parking for the majority of the neighborhood, but when you first turn into Jean Drive off of Woods Road, there is no parking on both sides of the road for I'd say a good block and a half, or a good block stretch. No parking on both sides. And I thought, and they have curb and gutter. It's not gravel, it's curb and gutter. I just happened to bump into a resident there. And I said, hey, what caused all this? And I kind of knew.
Excuse me. We have a council meeting starting at 6. Can you maybe
Yeah, I'll
wrap it up
speed
in about a minute?
Okay, yep, no problem.
Thanks.
And I just wanted to know kind of what the backstory was that, and I said, and the guy told me, he says, yep, well, because the kids wanted to park in that neighborhood. So, and then they've had that for about 10 years. So there's cases like that. Penn Lane is another one. Penn Lane from Cornell Circle to Princeton Drive. Short little jaunt there, no parking on both sides. It is graveled shoulders, but there's no houses. I think there's like a little, maybe something like a little apartment on the corner or something, but there's no parking on both sides, and it's a pretty wide road. And I'm just a little puzzled as to why was there no parking signs put there. So I'm just trying to give you examples that it does exist. There is roads out there. That's one of them. There's, like I said, I had about 10 of them here. That's Penn Lane. You have Hillendale Drive. Let me back up. Racine Avenue. From about City Hall, clear past Muskego High School, no parking both sides. It's County Highway. Woods Road, from as far west as Settlement Court, the Settlement Subdivision, again, you pull in that subdivision, no parking both sides. And from Settlement Court, I would say all the way as far, just past Racine Avenue on Woods Road, no parking both sides. Hillendale Drive, we have it on Hillendale Drive. From about just before Tans up to our road, there's no parking both sides. And Parkland Drive, south of the new area that you guys put parking on just one side, but south of Janesville Road on Parkland Drive, again, nothing really there. There's a hill, goes up a hill, goes a little park on the left, no parking on both sides. It's a little mysterious too. Why is there no parking signs on both sides of the road? But and I don't care, but it's just that I'm just trying to show you that, yeah, you guys have done it in the past, and I believe it sets precedence of that. So I'm just saying, hey, it has been done, and I think we have to look at this as a case-by-case scenario. And I don't think it's too much asked for you guys to have a little latitude for our sake, and so. Just in closing, that's all I have. And again, I'll just throw in a couple other things. We've had issues where we had to wrap it up. We had fire personnel try to get down there, and they couldn't get down there too. And so there was one of the concerns about that. We had to have a fire truck go around the block just to get access there. So just wanted to add that. And I think that's about it. So I really would like you to consider it, and I'll let the opportunity to have anybody else come up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. And I can hand this around.
Yeah, just bring it up here.
Sure.
Yeah.
It seems there's two issues.
Yeah, we don't have.
One second, just so you guys know, we can only go till about 5 after. During it, during this meeting, it started after the order, but we have to start the organization within 5 minutes.
Okay. Should we just?
So you can go can start the other one at least within 5 minutes.
Okay.
Just adjourn it now? Or are you going to be able to get done in a couple of minutes?
I'm going to do my best.
I hope so.
Well, I've got another meeting that I have to attend. I got to leave this place
Okay.
anyway, so I have to be quick. So my name is Greg Wachowski. I live on the opposite end of School Drive. Not affected by this, but driving down that way, I could see where these people would be upset. I don't blame them. Just coming down today, the ruts are about 5 inches deep. I've lived in this house for just over 40 years now, and I love it here. I truly do. And there have been a lot of dives running where the local is running. The local is a phenomenal success story. They took an eyesore and made it an artsy, cool place. However, when you're running a business, you can't take advantage of the citizenry. You got to solve your problems. And my thinking is looking at the locals' landscape, they could potentially double the size of their parking lot by, and I hate doing this, I'm a green guy, I love green, but they've got grass, they've got sandbag things in the backyard. They could open up that, create an extra large parking lot, and then potentially have a pathway for employee parking to park up against the south side of the lot and to come around the south side of the building by tearing down a small wood structure and having a pathway to Hillendale. That's my suggestion. I mean, they're running a successful business, but they've got to manage their needs. And right now, they have a need of space. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
So look at that, huh?
Good job, thanks.
Nice job.
We will adjourn and then come back after our council meeting when that finishes. Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Council meeting should be pretty short, right?
Yeah.
All at once.
Yep.
So if you guys want to stick around, we just have to do our organizational meeting, like 15 minutes. Do people get?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
15 minutes. and then
Move to-
Good.
Yes, we're adjourned.
State statutes, we have to start the other meetings within a certain.
Okay, I'd like to reconvene the Public Works and Safety Committee meeting to order on Tuesday, April 19th at 6:29 PM. We left off at the no parking request at School Drive. Actually, I would like to have Officer Fonz coming up and say what he's observed.
Is it on?
Yep.
Thank you. So sure, what they're saying is pretty much accurate. On School Drive, there's usually 2 to 3 cars that are employees that are parked on the north side of school facing west. They are off to the shoulder. They're off, and it is kind of a muddy area now, so the tire impressions are accurate. And then on College Avenue, there are probably 3 to 4 cars that usually park on the south side of College facing east. We have received complaints for those cars for being an obstruction. Anytime an officer goes out there and makes an observation on that, they are legally parked, and have not, to the best of my knowledge, been any type of traffic crashes at College and Hillendale since the local has opened.
The other issue is the school, Sergeant Fonz?
Sure, the school, that was a very tough challenge this year, obviously, given the construction with Hillendale. The traffic pattern has changed several times throughout the course of the school year to accommodate commuters as well as the construction project. And right now, I'm happy to say, I'm proud to report, at the end of the school day, from about 3:45 to about 4 o'clock, there is a steady traffic flow. It was created so you make a right turn into the traffic parking lot, and then you're making a right turn out. So it's the expectation from the school to the parents to enter the parking lot, to enter Hillendale Drive from either School Drive or from College Avenue, and then they turn right into the lot, they pick their student up, and then they exit and make a right-hand turn out of Hillendale to create a smooth traffic pattern. We did strictly enforce it because there are no parking signs on both sides of Hillendale in front of the area where they're speaking of, and anytime cars would start to park there, they were told they had to move on. But right now, there is about a 15-minute window where traffic might get backed up to School Drive, but they are moving at a slow pace to facilitate that parent pickup.
Thank you, Sergeant Fonz.
I got a question for you. So if somebody's parked too close, well, let me rephrase that. Have you received any calls that you know of people parking too close to the intersection or too close from the curb?
On School Drive or on College?
Well, on School Drive, or, yeah, School Drive, you know, let's say they're too close to the intersection with Hillendale or too close to Preston, they park right up there. How far is that distance supposed to be?
Without looking at any call logs, I can't, while I've been working, I have not received any complaints. I'd have to go back and obviously research, and I could get that data to you. We do have officers actively patrolling. If they see an obstruction or an illegally parked vehicle, they are going to make an effort to get that vehicle in compliance and in order. And I can speak, I know another one of their concerns was like during the school year, every now and then Mill Valley does have call it all school event, and they break it up throughout the day. If it's some sort of concert, and that area does get congested from school to Preston, they just try and utilize as much real estate as possible. They're parking in the grass and they're parking in the Mill Valley overflow lot off of Racine Avenue. So parking everywhere is always a premium.
And how far should somebody be parked from an entrance to a driveway?
I believe statute's 4 feet, I believe.
Okay.
I'd have to research
And can they
that.
park in front of a mailbox? Is that okay?
Mailbox, you cannot.
I'm sorry?
A mailbox or fire hydrant, you cannot. You can't obstruct those.
You cannot.
You have to allow mail flow. So I believe, I don't know if there's a time frame for mail, but the mail delivery has to be able to occur, and then you also cannot park in front of a fire hydrant.
So if that's the case, they could actually call.
They would call, or we would proactively enforce it
Okay.
as part of our routine daily duties.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. I guess I'll start.
Is there anyone else that,
Okay, one.
yeah.
Hello.
Hi, I'm John Orlando. I live on the corner basically of School and Hillendale. I'm the middle home between the school and the bar. And attesting to what the officer said, there has been many times that I've witnessed cars parked on both sides of Hillendale, both sides of school, where if an emergency vehicle tried to get through there, it would not get through there. I've had people park at the edge of my driveway where I can't back my vehicle out of the spot without fearing I'm going to get hit with something else coming the other way. I've been in the home 27 years and have never had issues with any of the other bars that have been there. I knew the owners of JD's, and one of their big things was please be very considerate of our neighbors. Other thing that I've seen is just trying to usually get home from work at 6 o'clock. Trying to get across the street is like playing Frogger to get your mail. You can't, there's an enforced speed limit, but there's a lot of people that don't observe it. And we have a guy that lives directly across the street from me, has 3 little kids. You're right by a school. There's not a lot of control of the speed or the traffic, as far as I see or am concerned. I think I've stated pretty much everything I got.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Fred Fisher. I live on Hillendale Drive right across the street from the bar, and I've lived there for 20 years also. And since the new bar's been there, it's been the best bar there since I've lived there. As far as noise and courtesy is concerned, they've been very good to me, as far as I'm concerned. But I am concerned about mainly their customers parking on the street. If they park on the street, probably about 4 feet of their car is still hanging over onto the street, onto Hillendale. So they park, so their wheels come off the blacktop and onto my lawn. And yeah, mine is ripped up too. So I got snow sticks all the way up my lawn now, so that doesn't look too good. But it keeps some of the people off of my driveway and off my lawn. So that's the main thing of a concern like you do. I don't have an answer. The only thing I know is that when any business in Muskego applies for a license or a business, One of the things they are supposed to provide is parking for their employees and customers. So I don't know what the number was when this establishment got their business permit, but apparently it wasn't big enough because they do park on the streets. And now it's not nearly like it was a year ago. That was really crazy back then. Now it's mainly like on weekends where I see them parking in front of my house and everything. And I don't have a problem with that until they start, like I say, parking on my grass. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for doing your homework and putting this all together. It's greatly appreciated. A lot of people don't do that. However, I've never been a fan of no parking signs, especially on both sides of the street. We all have people over for Christmas or Easter, Thanksgiving, graduation parties, birthday parties. Now, there's no parking signs on both sides of the street. That goes for you as well. So it's, you know, and you stated a lot of good things and a lot of concerns, but I've always had a problem with that because you're moving the problem someplace else, unfortunately. You know, if there's no parking on School Drive, they'll park down Preston, it looks like, or go down, you know, College. I don't know what a good solution is on that. You bring up good points, but I have a hard time with the no parking signs, period, on that. Now, I do have a question for you, Scott, or something if we can do. Can we go to the local and ask them to help with their parking situation? And because I know that,
I think the mayor's going to speak on this one.
So parking's been an issue there, obviously, since they opened, and it's, thanks. It's been an issue since they opened there. Less so, as the last gentleman said, now than it was a year ago. New restaurant, had immediately good reviews, a lot of good, you know, so people all wanted to get there and try to park. Parking in Hillendale is problematic. There's just no shoulder there to park on. So I've been talking to I'm in constant communication with the owner. He's very receptive to, you know, can you guys try this? Can you guys try that? We initially talked to them about moving their employees to park down by College. It was a request, not a, you know, we can't force them to do that, but it was a request. I was approached by a couple of the waitresses there that especially work at night and had concerns about walking down there without pockets full of cash. I reiterated to them that it's a request, not a, you know, we're trying, you guys have to live together. That's what it came down to. So, you know, do what you can on it, but I understand their concerns as well. Jeremy and Joe that own the place, behind, it was suggested by, a gentleman spoke earlier, the back of the building has horseshoe pits from the previous owners. They're not being used. Their plan is to pave that over and add parking there. In addition to that, I know they're having discussions and they've talked, I'm not sure if they've talked to Adam yet or not, but they want to talk to the condo owners behind. There's some woods there that if they can carve out some land there, and it works with our ordinances that they can expand even a couple spots over there. So they're aware that parking's an issue there. There's no magic solution that's going to make the neighborhood happy, and there's no magic solution that's going to make the business happy. So I just I'm not really giving you a solution here. I'm just kind of telling you where the conversations have gone so far. You know, we've got to balance both sides on this, and there's not an easy solution on that. As far as it came up as far as what they were permitted for use. Obviously, you guys were in office when this was approved. Because it's grandfathered in as the type of business it is, there is no formal plan commission approval or anything else that you would normally go through, because that business, quite honestly, has been there before any of those homes. Not that they have any more rights, but it's been a bar or something to that sort. I've got aerial maps going back to the 40s. Their parking lot was a road that went to the gravel pit. You know, so it's been there a while, and it just keeps on because of the way grandfathering works. They have inherited rights, I guess. And it's because of that, they don't go through the normal review process that a new business would if they were a different use. So there's no easy solution on this one.
Right.
I'd be curious to see how this all plays out once they do expand that parking lot, and I can have a conversation with the owners this weekend and see where their plans are on that. I know last summer killed them. Their business was down during the road construction for a number of months, so they said well, that they're pushing it off a little bit because initially they were going to do it right away, so I can recheck in with them and see where their plans are. But that's everything I know at this point. You guys get to make the decisions, but
Yeah. I'm glad they're aware of it and they thinking of ways
they want to be good
resolve
neighbors.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
they own the Hale House in Hale's Corners too, so they're aware of how what it takes to work with people. But like I said, there's no easy solution on any of this. So.
Right. Thanks.
Come to the microphone,
Yes,
please.
briefly, yes.
Thanks.
Just to pick up where you kind of left off, I'm sorry, to kind of pick up where you left off was, I'm hearing that it was grandfathered in, and what I want to kind of add to that is, it was a tavern that served frozen pizzas and pickled eggs and pig's feet and ham, you know what I mean? It all pickled goods, and that's the kind of business it was. And now that it's a full-fledged kitchen that is in there, I believe the dynamics have changed with that whole idea of that it was being grandfathered in. Yes, they have probably that right of being grandfathered in, but I think with that dynamic of being a full stainless kitchen, being able to serve food like they do, that was the influx of the problem there with all the customers that they're drawing in, which then, of course, what we were aware of. I could be wrong on the numbers, but I thought it was 48 people were to occupy that business, but there's only 20 parking spots outside. So I think there's a little bit of an imbalance there, that they also have 10 to 12 employees there every day. And that's where we are getting the brunt of those employees on our street as well. And then when they do get busy, we're also getting the impact of all the customers added to the employees parking on our streets. So I understand what they're trying to do, and I get it. I get what they're trying to make the most room possible for their customers, so they're having their employees park out onto the street to make the room for their customers. I get it, makes sense, but it's not fair to us. I think that, and I understand their parking issues, but if they were to park in their parking lot, then of course half their parking lot would be taken up by their employees. And I think even if they take out those horseshoe pits, what are you gonna gain? Maybe five more spots? I don't know. It's
Well,
pretty tight
I
back
think
there.
they're looking to work and try to resolve the issue and the problem, and that's the main thing.
Sure.
So, as the mayor said, there's no easy solution for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, even if you, which I don't know if they can even, if you guys would even allow them to purchase some of the property even beyond their property line. I don't know if that's an answer to.
Well, we can't mandate them or force them to do that
No,
or anything
I'm not
like
saying
that,
you can,
yeah.
but I'm just trying to throw things out to see
Right.
what sticks, as far as ideas and thinking out of the box. But I just think that as a community, we're feeling the brunt of it for their success. And I think that's just not really fair for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, legally parked is, what's a definition of legally parked, or Sergeant Fonz? I mean, is it wheels off the road? I know there's right-of-ways going well beyond the roadway.
I'd actually have to look it all up and to make sure that I'm within statute in terms of like how it works. But legally parked is obviously you're not impeding on, on traffic, that you're a certain distance from mailboxes, driveways, other entrances. And just to make sure that that is, obviously, if I'm going to enforce the parking, part of it is it's currently allowed for parking on both sides of the road. So you are allowed to, pull off to the side of the road, and you're allowed to be in the easement, if you will, of the city. And so to give you the long answer, I'd have to look up the statutorial definition myself.
I mean, it's gonna be lengthy, so I can give you the numbers.
That's okay.
It's a lengthy legalese term of where we find in terms of what's legally parked.
So they're basically not obstructing traffic is what it boils down to, or impeding someone's ability to get out of their driveway or deliver
Correct.
mail or fire service. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief. Yeah. Bob, I'm with you. I'm not a sign guy either. I really don't like the idea of putting up signs for a couple of reasons. One reason is that unless the restaurant comes up with a creative way to park their employees, and if we shut down those streets, their business is going to suffer tremendously. And I don't know what their employees are going to be doing. From one of the mayor's comments is that it sounds like they're trying to resolve some of the issues. And maybe we can continue that conversation with the people at the local. Maybe they can come up with a solution for their employees must leave at certain times where they can park and pool their employees in from a different location, which would alleviate the burden on School Drive and in some of the areas in Hillendale. As far as customers, it sounds like it's a weekend issue, a Friday, Saturday type of issue, rather than a daily issue. I know I've been down there a couple of times. I was down there today, and I saw 2 cars on School, both parked facing west, facing Hillendale. And I know it's mushy now, so the grass is pretty well beat up, but that is city right away there.
Right.
So I guess I'm almost tempted to see if we as a city can contact the local, tell them what the issue is, tell them what the alternatives are that we talked about tonight. Either restrict the parking, which is going to really hurt or cripple their business, or have them come up with a better solution than what we have right now.
Yeah, not a fan of making it difficult for them to employ people and have a good business going. It's thriving. I remember I get a comment, and I'm sure you have too, there's no good places to eat in Muskego. I've heard so many good things about the local. I really hate to do something to hurt their business. I understand where you guys are coming from. I agree with you as, going back to the local, and hopefully they can do something to add a few more spots, even if it's a little. Employees can park themselves in because they're probably showing up and leaving at the same time, so maybe you can get a few more in there. I don't know. Mayor mentioned that they're talking about maybe contacting the condo association behind them to see if they can expand their lot a little way. I think those are steps in the right direction. I also think if you see somebody that's parked too close to your driveway, in front of your mailbox, or too close to an intersection, call the police and have them come out. There's so many complaints in the city about speeding and people parking where they shouldn't be parking. The police can't be everywhere 24/7, even though I think we'd like them to be a lot of times. So if you see something like that, I think just call the police and tell them what the situation is and see if they can come by and, issue a citation. I think if there's a citation if somebody's parked too close to the driveway or in front of a mailbox or something, hopefully they learn a lesson after one of them. But yeah, I'm not in favor of the no parking signs. It's not only that, it's moving the problem down Hillendale further, College, Preston, and then where does it stop? You keep on moving out, eventually the business is going to close up shop and not be able to support itself, and I'm definitely not in favor of that.
If this is a weekend issue, the school grounds are available, aren't they, for parking?
I would think so. People park over there for softball and everything, isn't? Can they park at the school?
So I don't want to say anything but I do theirs at some point. I think they reached out. But again, now you have another place that's taking the insurance on for employees. So I think at one point something was talked about. I don't know what all happened of it. But again, we've had that discussion too when people park in other places. Now that place also has to take on the insurance or extra insurance for people parking in there. I think the last I can remember that is something, and again, I believe there was a business on Janesville. They had an agreement for people parking either at the business next to them, and then that business had to take on the extra insurance. Again, it's kind of like we can't force them. It's more of like, I believe they reached out to the school at one point, and the mayor would probably know that more, but I believe they have reached out, and for one reason or another, that has not worked out. So I think that was one of the options they did explore. So, and I think they did it for a time period, but I do not think they do it anymore. So, but usually it comes down to lawyers and insurance companies saying whether or not this is a good idea or not. So.
I know where the post office is off of Parkland, that they banned parking in that lot
Yes,
as well.
correct.
Yeah. At best, I'd consider parking on one side of the street, and that's not going to it's going to make about half of the people happy. I'm almost tempted to defer this for 30 days and see what kind of discussions we can have with the people at the local to see if they can solve the problem. Because I truly would hate to have to consider shutting parking down on both sides of the street and down Hillendale as well.
I don't know if 30 days would be enough time to come up to solve the problem. Is that what you're looking for, or just come up with a solution to the problem?
With a solution. I mean, they're not going to be able to put a driveway
Right,
in,
yeah,
but if they can, give us a time frame, maybe meet with the condominium people and see what they have to say. At least we'll have some more information from the local as far as what they're able to do. I just hate to shut the whole thing down at this point.
Yeah, as I think we all said, I don't see any easy solution to this. What do you want to make a motion to table it for?
I'd make a motion to defer for 30 days till our next meeting.
Okay.
And in the meantime, see if we can get some information from the local, get a plan. If they have no plan, then we've got to take some action. But I hate to take hasty action at this point in time and cripple a local business.
Okay. I'll second that deferment for 30 days. We're good with that, Scott?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, try to give everyone, we usually try to do public works meetings every month. I try to get as many things on there as possible, if not, but because I know I got a couple things that are coming, so we are going to have one in May, okay? So that's for sure. What I will do, myself, I will talk with the mayor, maybe I'll talk to Adam. We'll reach out to local. Maybe we can come up with a game plan, bring it back, describe it at this meeting. Maybe we can even ask if a representative, again, this is us asking, not mandating, if they would come and talk with everyone and we can come up with a solution. I agree, it's not easy. I take Hillendale Road every morning and every afternoon as I drop my daughter off, and I see what you're seeing. I've been out looking at that road probably for the last year, every week, based off of the road construction. So I see everything, the ins and outs with the traffic on Mill Valley School, with School Drive, the local College Avenue. That might be a solution, but I want to let everyone know in the room, with this thing called Fleet Farm that is moving forward rather quickly, and we're seeing in College. The idea of Waukesha County letting people park on College right there is probably going to go away real quick. I just want to let you know that, and it's coming. Fleet Farm is coming. It's in the Business Journal. They're going to make improvements to that entrance point there. So I see the days of parking on Colleges pretty much far and few. So, but we can do it as a staff. We can reach out to them and come up with a game plan, and then meet all back here in May. So, and we always do it the third Tuesday here, 5:30. Okay.
So just to clarify, the county has jurisdiction over parking and no parking on the county roads.
Correct.
So we're seeing
Correct.
College,
Yep.
Janesville, any county road in the state.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
guess we,
Any other thing that you guys want me to do? I think that's fair of like,
And share with, I mean, I'm assuming they recognize what the concerns of the
Yep.
neighborhood is and what the alternatives are. I mean, no parking is a pretty severe alternative for them.
so we have a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Looks like there's no business placed on file. Any other communication miscellaneous business as authorized by law? I don't see any. Need a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:57.